Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, 2 hikers were stranded for almost an hour on the cliffs above Lexington's Chessie Trail.
Find out how the Natural Bridge Zoo is responding to recent allegations on animal abuse and neglect.
City employees are removing parking signs in downtown Lexington. We'll tell you why.
And later, how local community college students are responding to President Obama's proposals to make tuition more affordable to low-income students.
And we'll have your local weather forecast.
That and more is next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Hello and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Alexandra Seymour.
And I'm Asher Lubin.
2 hikers were rescued yesterday evening after becoming trapped on the cliffs above the Chessie Trail outside Lexington. Michael Lawrence and his companion, who gave his name only as Sean, were free climbing the cliffs that run alongside the trail when Lawrence slipped on wet leaves and got stuck on a small ledge 75 feet above the trail. When the trapped hiker's friend attempted to climb down for help, he also slipped and became stuck. Firefighters freed Lawrence's companion quickly, but worked for almost an hour before finally hoisting Lawrence to safety using a harness. Neither hiker suffered any serious injuries. People are mourning the death of a Jordanian pilot who was killed by ISIS terrorists after they released a video showing the man locked in a cage and burned alive. CNN reporter Jomana Kardashian has the story.
A prayer for Jordan, a service dedicated to a fallen hero. Jordanian Christians gather to mourn and grieve the brutal death of Mu'adh al-Kasasbeh, this country's first known victim of ISIS.
At a time like this, as a Christian or as a Muslim, I feel as a Jordanian. For me, I don't feel any difference that I'm a Christian. For us, it's the pain and the sorrow is for every Jordanian.
Many in this Amman church say they've seen the horrific video of his apparent killing and they're haunted by it. Lillian Paltekian and her young boys have seen the video. They hear about Daesh or ISIS all the time, she says, so they have to see what ISIS is. 9-year-old Serge says the video scared him and he doesn't want to see it again. Haifat Gammo, like most here, did not know Mu'adh al-Kasasbeh. But she says she had to be here on this day to pray for a man she describes as a hero and a martyr. In the small desert kingdom, one of the most stable in a turbulent region, the death of this one man is personal and felt by many. Describing what al-Kasasbeh means to Jordanians, actor Musa Jazin is overcome by emotion.
Allahu Akbar.
Hundreds gathered for noon prayers and to bid farewell to al-Kasasbeh. Not everyone in Jordan believes the country should be part of the US-led coalition against ISIS, but it now seems most stand united against a threat to their country.
I think now we have to pronounce that we have war. Not only we are fighting the irhab, the terrorists, no. We have war now, and we have to clean the world from these monsters.
Jordanians know their enemy is brutal and determined, but for now, they hope and pray that this will be the last time ISIS gives their nation a reason to mourn. Jomana Kardashian, CNN.
Natural Bridge Zoo came under scrutiny recently when an undercover investigation accused the zoo of neglecting and abusing its animals. The zoo is refuting those claims. Some of the images in this story are graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. CC Smith reports.
The United States has released the details of a months-long investigation into the treatment of animals at the Natural Bridge Zoo. The Humane Society says its undercover report proves abuse and neglect with picture and video evidence. Some of the following images and videos may be too graphic for certain viewers. The Humane Society claims the deaths of a pregnant giraffe, camel, capuchin monkey, lamb, and several guinea pigs serve as evidence of mistreatment and abuse.
We work across the board in a variety of ways to expose the most egregious practices of cruelty against animals. And of course, this is a clear-cut example of that.
Matthew Gray of the Humane Society said he reviewed the report before it was released.
Almost any time when we do an investigation like this, or we otherwise uncover cruelty to animals, that the argument against us is that is to discredit us. And of course, you really only have to look at the facts of this case, including the pictures and the video footage, to know that we aren't misinterpreting anything that was uncovered during this investigation.
PETA and HUS are parasitic organizations. They have to keep their vicious slandering up all the time, or they can't get donations from kind, compassionate people who don't know how their money's being misused.
Zoo owner Carl Mogensen said the Humane Society got the footage and pictures through an undercover reporter who worked with his daughter and the tigers while at the zoo.
And meanwhile was filming, had kind of a bush jacket on without sleeves where she was keeping her recording equipment. And she filmed everything possible that you could do this wrong. I'm sure you have dust under your beds or something too, you know.
The zoo also denied the accusations on its Facebook page. Wrinkles, our 24-year-old female giraffe, died peacefully in her stall of natural causes. A young camel strangled itself in a freak accident in a barn stall. A newly donated sheep to the zoo had a seizure and passed away quickly before staff could find a cause and initiate treatment. Any time an animal is lost, our staff grieves, looks for answers, and we also understand all life must come to an end at some point. The Humane Society has filed reports to local, state, and federal authorities in the hopes that action will be taken against the zoo. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Cece Smith.
This isn't the first time the Natural Bridge Zoo has been criticized for its treatment of animals. The U.S. Department of Agriculture suspended owner Carl Mogensen's zookeeper's license in 1994 and 2007 for violating the Animal Welfare Act. So far, however, no law enforcement agencies have taken action on these new allegations. The Buena Vista City Council has returned a surplus from the last fiscal year to the Buena Vista City Public Schools. The funds totaled $112,000. School Superintendent John Keeler said this was the 6th consecutive year the council has returned carryover funding to the school system. He said he plans to use the funds for possible capital improvements at the city's 4 schools. Carryover funding from last year was used to replace a heating and cooling system in the gym at Perry McClure Middle School.
Downtown Lexington is going on a sign diet as part of the ongoing enhancement plan. Kinsey Grant has the story.
As part of Lexington's downtown enhancement plan, City Council voted to cut back on the number of parking signs in the Central Business District. City leaders are calling the project the Sign Diet. Once the project is completed, Lexington will boast nearly 60 fewer parking signs and a less cluttered sidewalk.
The best way to achieve sign reduction to get a maximum number is to create a parking district, which was done by action of council in December of this year, where they amended our city ordinance on downtown parking to create the downtown parking district, which very simply stipulates that all parking downtown is 2 hours unless otherwise posted.
The Sign Diet is one of several ideas suggested by development consultants and approved by City Council. Officials say too many signs confuse people trying to park and obstruct the view of Lexington's historic beauty.
It's a step in the right direction and it will be helpful. I think it'll be clearer also for folks where they can park for what period of time.
I'm relieved when I can come to town to shop and not feel the need to race back out in the middle of an appointment or something to repark the car or wonder if there's going to be enough parking. There seems to be a lot less shuffle around.
Handicapped spaces will not be affected by the project, but some parking spaces that were previously 10-minute spaces will be converted to 2-hour spaces. City leaders are confident that cooperation from local government and Lexington citizens will reduce confusion about the new policies for both locals and visitors.
We may find 6 months or a year from now that we may have to, at some other locations, go back and reinstall a sign or two, just so it's very clear, absolutely clear as to, what the parking situation is.
I think they'll know where to park, but for how long, that's the question that hasn't been answered yet. But I think with the assistant assistance from merchants, and you know, Lexington is such a friendly town to start with. I don't anticipate any huge problems or issues with the new program.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Kinsey Grant.
Officials say the sign removal is a cost-effective start to the enhancement project. The next step will be painting all traffic signals and sign poles black. 5 Lexington businesses had their water cut off for about 2 hours Tuesday after a water line broke under East Nelson Street. Lexington Public Works discovered the leak by using underground listening devices. Director Mike Kennedy says Public Works noticed a recent increase in Lexington's daily water consumption. That led them to investigate further until they pinpointed the leak underneath the Wendy's parking lot. Wendy's had no above-ground leaking or water damage. Public Works repaired the leak in about an hour and a half. When we come back, we'll have the weekend weather forecast.
After that, find out what invasive species could be lurking in your backyard. And later, a closer look at the change in leadership at Lexington schools.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Nah, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Millions of people in the Northeast were hammered by the second winter storm in just a few days. CNN's Brian Todd has more.
A monster storm slamming the Northeast tonight. Winter storm warnings in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and across New England. Up to a foot or more of snow forecast in Boston, where they declared a snow emergency once again. Schools were closed, and officials urged residents to use public transportation if they had to go out.
We want to make sure that the entire city is up and running tomorrow. So we are out there with plows today. We're asking people, if you can, stay off the roads.
South of Boston, a woman died after being struck by a snowplow. The Norfolk County District Attorney's Office tells CNN the victim was hit in this parking lot Monday morning by a snowplow operator. An investigation is underway. There was a travel ban during last week's storm, but not this time, and visibility is an issue.
Maybe a mile or so of visibility, but yeah, definitely coming down, definitely keep the windshield wipers going.
What's scaring you right now?
I can't really see the road right now. Everything's all like blurry.
Some drivers who ventured out had problems.
Somebody went out unexpectedly, so to avoid the collision, I went in the snowbank.
The massive winter storm blanketed the Midwest before hitting the Northeast. Wet, heavy snow fell in Nebraska. 2 people were killed in weather-related car accidents there on Sunday. In Chicago, more than 50,000 customers lost power during the storm. Utility crews were trying to restore power Monday to about 5,000 customers still without power. The city got 18 inches of snow on Sunday. Mayor Rahm Emanuel says that's more than their share.
We are getting, in this 24-hour cycle, what we got for all the month of January.
Emergency crews responded to this multi-vehicle crash on Interstate 294, about 20 miles from Chicago, Monday morning. The storm is also impacting air travel. The travel headaches started over the weekend and continued after thousands of flights were canceled on Monday, most out of Chicago O'Hare, Newark Liberty, and Boston Logan International Airport.
Well, I hope we don't get any of that weather here. Stuart, tell us what we can expect this week.
Thanks, Alexandra. And this week, it's looking like relatively calm and cold and clear in Lexington and the surrounding area. As you can see here on our Rockbridge Almanac, we've got high temperatures around 31 degrees, low around 17. Actually, right now, we're almost achieving the high of 31. The barometric pressure is sitting at about 30, and winds from the northwest are coming in at 10 degrees, or 10 miles per hour. Actually feels like about 19 degrees right now with the wind chill, and humidity at 23%. Not a cloud in the sky right now. It's going to be relatively clear for the rest of the day. Let's take a look at our local conditions. Current conditions at our studios in Lexington. It looks like clear, about 31 degrees, and it's going to remain that way for the rest of the day into the night. Let's take a look at our local map of Rockbridge County. As you can see, we've got pretty much the same weather all around the county and surrounding area. We've got a low in Stanton of 26, a high down here in Lynchburg of 35, but it's sunny almost everywhere with the exception of Covington, where we've got 28 degrees. As I said before, 31 degrees at our studios in Lexington and in Buena Vista. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. As you can see here, we've got, heading into the weekend, we've got about high of 45 and a low of 25. Partly cloudy. It's going to remain that way through Saturday and Sunday, as well as Monday. We're looking at high temperatures on Sunday, about 59 degrees, and Tuesday will take us back into some sunny weather, but the temperature will remain relatively stable throughout the weekend. Thanks, Alexandra. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Stuart. I'm looking forward to the awesome weather this weekend. Terror on the tracks after a commuter train slammed into an SUV on Tuesday. Details are ahead.
Last night was pretty chaotic when this happened.
Daylight shows the charred hull of this Metro North commuter train hours after it slammed into an SUV. Witnesses say the driver apparently got stuck on the track, then got out of her car to see what was holding it back. After she got back in, the train struck, sending it 400 feet down the track. The front car of the train burst into flames.
Somebody called for a fire extinguisher, which we were able to get out of the second car. We were trying to pass that forward. We could not get the front car open.
There was a passenger that ran past me. He had blood on his face, and people were pulling the windows off, trying to get out through the emergency windows.
5 passengers died, as well as the driver of the Mercedes SUV.
Considering the brutality of the incident, that more people didn't die, we're actually, I don't want to use the word lucky, but it could have been a lot worse.
Now the NTSB is investigating the deadliest crash in Metro North Railroad's history.
Our goal is to find out not only what happened, but really find out why it happened so that we can issue safety recommendations to try and keep this from happening again.
One county official says it's too early to place blame.
I think we're going to have to leave that up to the NTSB to see whether there was signal failure or something wrong with the track, as opposed to driver error.
Most gardeners don't know much about invasive plant species. That lack of awareness is one of the main factors contributing to the rampant spread of non-native plant life in the United States. The invasive species that are already in our country are here to stay. Experts say there is no way to get rid of them entirely. However, Lexington City arborist Jennifer Hughes says gardeners can be proactive and help manage the spread of invasive plant species by being more careful about the plants they buy for their personal gardens. Slowing the spread of invasive plants is crucial to protect local and national biodiversity. Otherwise, native plant species will continue to be at risk.
Coming up next, how a patient escaped from Lexington's Kendall retirement community. And later, a national horse show brought riders from up and down the East Coast to Lexington last weekend.
Hi, may I please have an application?
Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books. No more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out!
For summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
A plane went down in Taiwan, killing at least 25 people on board. CNN's David McKenzie has the details.
This dashcam footage from Taiwan is as incredible as it is horrifying. The extraordinary scene from CNN affiliate TVBS shows the TransAsia ATR 72 shortly after takeoff. Then the unthinkable, the plane cartwheeling over an elevated highway, slamming into a barrier and then crushing a passing taxi, ditching into the Keelung River below. 58 passengers and crew were on board the flight. Aviation authorities say that more than a dozen lost their lives. Incredibly, they say, there were survivors of the crash escaping the sunken fuselage. And the dramatic rescue scenes played out on live TV, with more than 100 first responders rushing to the scene, desperately searching for more survivors. TransAsia officials say the plane was new and recently serviced, but this is the second deadly TransAsia crash in just 7 months.
I would like to express our deep apologies to the victims and our crews. Again, we express our deep apologies.
Family members were left angry and distraught.
We had to contact the airline first. The airline didn't pay attention to us. They're busy confirming information. Their attitude is terrible.
The reasons for the crash are unclear, but the recovered flight data recorders should help investigators understand just what went so horribly wrong. David McKenzie, CNN, Beijing.
A patient went missing from local retirement community Kendall at Lexington last week. Kendall employees are conducting an internal investigation to see what went wrong. The patient, who goes by Harold, left in the middle of the night on January 27th and was missing for several hours. Employees say he escaped through a door in the Borden Health Center around 2 a.m. First responders found Harold 4 hours later in an unoccupied cottage on the Kendall property. Harold was found unharmed and safely returned.
President Obama announced he wants to cut down the price of attending community college to zero. Kieran McQuilkin shows us how the plan could affect Rockbridge students.
Monday I work and got an hour and 15-minute lecture and a night class for 3 hours. Tuesday I've got an 8 to 10 hour job and 3 hour night class. Saturday is my only day off whatsoever. And then we're back to Sunday again where I work. I have a family. I have an 18-year-old daughter. We've got pets. We've got a home.
Her story is not uncommon among students at the community college. Professor said most students between ages 16 and 80 have families and multiple jobs. President Obama wants to ease pressure on students like Amanda by making 2 years of community college free for those who meet basic requirements. Dabney S. Lancaster serves 800 students every year in Buena Vista. The program would fill significantly more seats, said President of the college, John Rainoni. He said full-time students pay $140 per credit, or about $4,200 per year, and 87% receive some financial aid. Still, many students at the community college work full-time and take classes at night. Stephanie Hamilton, a student at the college, said 2 years of free school would have helped much more than the money she already receives in financial aid.
Yeah, I would have a lot. I think it's $3,000.
That's well below the national average, which is rising every year. In 2012, community college students were paying an average of $9,300 per year. For a bachelor's degree, the average price is $23,000 per year between public and private colleges. But State Representative Ben Cline has a different plan for Virginia colleges. He introduced a bill to make a bachelor's degree program that costs just $16,000 for 4 years. The program combines credits from online, community college, and public university classes. For students at VMI, that would mean significantly fewer loans.
I had loans through the government, which took up most of my tuition, so the subsidized and unsubsidized, where it's through the government, but it's through VMI as well. So I do have a remaining balance, but I'm paying for that either out of pocket or through another loan I'm going to apply for. I mean, of course, it's not going to be fun paying it back.
The bill says if the state cannot establish the $16,000 degree within 1 year, it would found branches of Western Governors University, an online college with a $16,000 degree program. White House spokesman Eric Schultz said Obama's plan would cost about $60 billion over 10 years. It could face trouble seeking approval from Congress, which now has Republican majorities in both houses. The Assembly will review Ben Cline's plan in the following weeks. With the Rockbridge Report, I'm Kieran McQuilkin.
Nearly 100 people in the United States have been infected with the measles virus from an outbreak at Disneyland. The outbreak has already spread well beyond the theme parks that attract tens of thousands of visitors from around the globe who could then return home with the virus. Disease investigators for weeks raced to identify measles-stricken patients, track down potential contacts, and quarantine them if necessary. Public health experts say success at containing the outbreak will largely depend on how many unvaccinated people get the measles shot. Dr. James Cherry, a pediatric infectious disease expert at University of California, Los Angeles, says it could continue to smolder if not enough people get vaccinated.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, an update on your local sports.
And a look at Lexington's newest school officials.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Everybody has a dream.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Let's take a look at local sports. Emery, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Asher. W&L Women's Lacrosse will kick off their season this weekend with a scrimmage day at Catholic University. Men's basketball takes on Randolph-Macon at home this Saturday at 2 p.m., and the women's team will be away at Lynchburg. The Generals track and field team is traveling to Ursinus College on Saturday for the Frank Colden Invitational. SVU men and women's basketball both play Penn State Harrisburg at home on Saturday. The women play at 1 p.m. and the men tip off at 3 p.m. VMI men's basketball will go head-to-head with Wofford College at 1 p.m. Saturday, and the Cadets track and field team is headed out to Ohio for the weekend for the YSU National Invite. Rockbridge County High School's girls varsity basketball visits Stanton River High School tomorrow night for a 7 p.m. game. The Wildcats varsity wrestling squad is hosting the conference tournament on Saturday. Perry McClure's basketball team have a busy weekend. The boys varsity will host Auburn High School tomorrow at 6 p.m. The girls will be away at Gretna High School. Both teams are traveling to Highland High School on Saturday. The girls play at 6 p.m. and the boys will follow after. Asher, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Emery. That's all for this edition of the Rockbridge Report. For more information, check out rockbridgereport.washingtonandlee.net.
And have a great evening.